Welcome, everybody. Welcome to this October session of the Water School Africa online sessions. And I'm Minnie Jain, a director with the Flow Partnership, which works across the world with communities across the world in holding water in their landscapes, whether they're small water retention structures or large water retention structures, and how communities are using their own traditional wisdom of their own cultures and their own countries, and as well as learning modern techniques to make their landscapes water rich again. And that's the work, that's our work. The second part of our work is, of course, the water schools, where we open the space for people and communities, for farmers, for anybody who really wants to understand and learn how water retention, different people in different countries are doing water retention. So each month we have a presenter from a different country in Africa, especially since this is Water School Africa. We do have other water schools, but this session is Water School Africa. And Africa has a rich, rich, rich tradition of different water holding structures, different ways of water harvesting that farmers have been practicing for generations and centuries. And so the attempt of the Water School is to have the space for farmers and those who are in this water harvesting, to share their experiences of doing that successfully. So this today, we are really, really thrilled that we have somebody from a country where we haven't had a presentation from before. We have Issifu Sulemana from CEAL. The full form of CEAL he will tell you, but it has beautiful words like ecology, agriculture, and livelihoods in it. And so you can imagine that the network that they have built in Ghana, where they're working with about 10,000 farmers, looking into water retention, looking into agroecology, looking into how to farm and have livelihoods that are sustainable through the work that they're doing, all of which begins with having adequate water with their farms, on their farms and their landscapes, and keeping their landscapes regenerated. So Issifu will tell us a lot more about it, but it gives me great pleasure to welcome Issifu to this session. And just before I hand it over, to give you a little bit of housekeeping, that the session will last for about an hour and a half. Issifu will speak and show us and talk about his work for about 35 minutes or so. And then after that, the discussion, we'll open the space for discussion, questions, reflections, suggestions, anything that strikes you that comes out of the presentation that Issifu has made. The session's being recorded, so it will appear on the website, and you can catch it later if you have to leave early or you want to forward it on to friends who might have missed it. And if you're new to this session, then I would suggest that if you really like it at the end, do put your email if you want us to keep you updated in terms of future sessions that might happen, or if you have, equally importantly, any ideas or thoughts around suggesting something interesting that you might be doing in the space of water retention. So this is a movement of water harvesting there, and we are delighted to have you join us today. And I'll hand over to Dalend, my colleague Dalend, who's the coordinator of Water School Africa, to say a few words and invite Issifu in. Over to you, Dalend.
Thank you so much, Minnie. Thank you very much. Welcome in, everybody. I'm happy and thrilled to meet together for this wonderful and inspiring online session. This is an extension of what we call the exchange visits. In a way, very controversial, yes, but in a way, this is a way of also doing some exchange visits. We want to bring in our farmers so that they can share and interact on issues to do with water harvesting. Today, we have gone to the land of Ghana, in northern Ghana, where we're meeting Issifu Sulemana, a team leader for the Center for Agroecological Agriculture and Livelihoods. So Issifu is going to tell us how they've been capturing water, how they've been sinking water, how they've been availing water to their communities and making that water a source of livelihood, a source of income for their different families as a community. Issifu has also been involved in this work to make sure that we are water sustainable. He has been responsible for training over 10,000 farmers. We would want to hear that story from Issifu himself. Let me hand over this wonderful time to Issifu Sulemana from CEAL. Issifu, it's all yours. Welcome to this session.
Let me thank you for the wonderful introduction, and also let me thank Minnie for the preliminary, what's the name, setting up the tone. Maybe I should share my screen first, then we can keep the ball rolling, if that is fine. Then I just share my screen. See, let me see here.
Thank you, Issifu. While you are sharing your screen, let me also take this opportunity. You can go ahead. While you're sharing your screen, let me take this opportunity to emphasize what Minnie has just said. If you are new to this program, please get into our chat box, share with us your phone number, share with us your email address, so that in future, you can also be part of the circulation list for our invites. Back to you, Issifu. Thank you.
Okay. To start, I would like to welcome all of you, and also to give you a little bit background of what the presentation is going to look like. Normally, I tell my audience that this is not from a professional or academic. This is just from non-professional and a farmer point of view. So some of the terms that probably you'll be expecting from professionals, you will hear them from me. We just give it to you the way we see it, because that's what we do on the ground. So please, this is the first thing I always want people to know when we are making a presentation. The second one is also to let you know that, yes, Minnie and Deland already mentioned, we started from a long way. When I was just a child, start following farming to this point. Then I became part of a process that started training. Formerly, we're known as Zasalari Ecological Farms Project, because we believe in ecological agriculture, and not just any other agriculture, but a sustainable agriculture that probably, keeps our environment moving. So as early as 2007, I had joined the team. I don't want to start from far away. And then now we are CEAL, Center for Ecological Agriculture and Livelihood. We know very well that, look, water is central, even though it is not something that we focus on. But we farmers are very well aware that water is central. Without it, nothing production will go on. And therefore, it is important that we keep our eyes on it. And whatever we do, we find a way, we find simple technologies. So as a result of that, water conservation becomes part of what I call our sustainable or agroecology farming practices. And it's part of the soil conservation technologies. So this is, in a way, something that I want you to know. So all the 10,000 farmers that we've trained over the years is a cumulative. And in each one, we find a way to make sure that you don't just produce, but you also find technologies that allows you to keep producing, and that is water conservation technology. So now we go straight to the presentation. I'll do my best to make it straightforward and short, but very comprehensive and understanding. And then at any point at all, you can stop me and you can ask your question. I'll take my time and explain. So my name is Issifu Sulemana. I'm the team lead. Now I start the presentation. So this is the presentation guide. The first thing is people must know who are we. And I always say that we're a farmer-based organization, we're a local NGO. We've been promoting sustainable agriculture, and our focus is simple. What I call, we focus on agroecology, straightforward. So now, let me say, okay, so who are we? This is just a guide, our work, water harvesting, the type of water harvesting technologies, the utilization, the results, and the conclusion. So now this is where who are we are. We are just a local NGO. Our focus is on agroecology. We start right from production to marketing. That means right from primary production to marketing, we focus on agroecology technology. We are located in Walawale, which is in northern Ghana, and our target are just simple farmers. We work in rural areas and also peri-urban communities. Our work and water harvesting, like I mentioned, our focus is agroecology, and we also engage with local on agroecology principles and how do they integrate agroecology into their destiny. But today the focus is not there. Our other work too has to do with direct farmer support. That is where water conservation technology includes. So for example, to teach a farmer to build compost, we have a wide range of farmers who are building compost and they need water. And water is a major issue. And therefore we need to look at the best way to make sure that water is available, or they need to make sure that they have, the little they put on the ground, it is always kept moist and then water is actually in there. Tree plantings and all those things are part of our work. Now, where is the intersection of CEAL work and water harvesting technology? Two types of water harvesting and how it intersects with our work are noticed and also influence on other farmers through our farmer network. The first one is whatever little water you have, it has to be trapped. So you either trap it or you stop it. And then you find a way of spreading it. And then it is utilized direct in the farmlands. So for example, you look at a slope and you look at where we find ourselves, where we have only one raining season. And that one raining season is not even reliable. And that means that there are times that even within the raining season, you can have a prolonged drought. So the best thing you can do is to create bombs just to block it, or you can create swales. In some cases, we create gutters to channel the water to portions where water could not reach. And then over there, they sink, and the use of simple mulching technology and other crops, you are able to keep this water there for a period of time. The second one too has to do with harvest. You can either harvest your water and then you store it somewhere and then you utilize this when there are no rain. In that case, either in the farmlands or household levels. So we have what I call a bit evolve, and it spans from the traditional pots and then to tanks and then to mini dams. These are all technologies we use somehow in harvesting, storing, and then utilizing our water. So what it means that it is once it's stored, you have a control over and you can start utilizing them as and when you need it. So this is a typical example of how you can trap water, spread it, and utilize it. You either use what I call gutters. So this is in Kariminga, a community where dry season is very prominent, but also it's a low lying with rivers and other things. So therefore, what sometimes farmers will do is to make sure that we create a gutter so that when there's excess water, it flows to the far end where you are not able to transport or get water there, and then it is utilized in the farmlands. This is also some of the bonding that we create to make sure that we block water and channel it to where we want it to sink, and then we can utilize it during our farming system. This is also another type of the same bonding of swales that we create just to trap water and then make sure that the place is moist, and then we are able to do that. But mind you, they don't leave it this way. Eventually, when it's done, we mulch it so that it can keep there for a very long time without drying. You can have another example of a similar one. And then this is a mini dump. This time, what we have been doing in our communities, or communities have been doing, is to encourage a communal labor where you can come out, whether there's a machine or there's no machine, how you can create small dam, trap it, either for livestock use to drink or for you to pump and do small vegetable farming. This is also areas where the water table is so high, and then you don't go far, and then you can't get water. So in these circumstances, during the rainy season, they create channels, and then the whole underground is recharged. And then when there's no water, then a little dugout, you have enough water, and you can use it for whichever purpose you want to use. So this is a community like Banawa, where we work with, and how they get water to do their vegetables spray, their vegetables. So the end results of all these water technologies that communities and farmers put together is to give us food. Food in the sense that the process is used for the production of what? Vegetables or any other crop that feeds the household and also sell. But when you go to the household level, because normally we do not have rains throughout the year, people must find a way to store water, either for domestic use or any other use. So this is the local FM port where we can store water for a number of days for the household use or any other domestic use. So that is why I term this the community or the household water storage facility. So now what it means is that we have dealt with how we spread water in the field and keep it for some time and then utilize it in the farm. Now we are also in the house where we can store water and then we can use it either for domestic consumption or any other use as and when we need that, what's the name? Water. Okay, so this one is a modified one that farmers and then few community members came out with and decided that, look, why don't we increase the pot with the local materials we have, then we can store enough instead of the small pot. So this one was taken in Upper East. I didn't know that I'll be making this presentation, but I went there for a work with vegetable farmers, and then this is what they showed it to me. Actually, it was not me who developed the technology. It is the farmers in Upper East who developed this, modify it, and then added some few taps so that you can take your water, and then they showed me this one too in the household, how it is harvested. So all these are a technology that allows you to harvest, store, and then probably you use it as and when you need it. Okay, so this is also the CEAL farms. We have started the tank systems where you not just store water, but you use it for fish. And then after that, you can use the water to water your vegetables in your field. So this is the tank systems that allows us to store enough water and then utilize it in the field. But also we use that to produce fish. And this is a geolining memory that we happen to get a university student from UDS who came out with the idea and said, look, you don't necessarily have to be by the river, but the rainwater that usually, the few rains that come, you can store enough, use it for the fishing, and then after that, you can use it for your vegetables. So we said, okay, that's fine. We can do it. So this particular one actually gives you 5 million liters of water when it's full to the capacity. And it is not by any river. We use rainwater that's through the, what's the name? The fuel structures, and also the running water that comes from the upstream and then fill the dam. With this one, it is used to produce fish, and then also it is also used to water vegetables after, what's the name? You've taken your fish already, your stock already. So in conclusion, all the water that technology that we have shown, you can say that given the circumstances of our work, they sum up either for the field use to produce food of different kinds, and also fish production. Because when you look at the topic, it talks about harvesting water for sustainable food security in northern Ghana. But it does not end there. It also tells you that water harvesting technology is not just for only food, but also household and domestic uses. So in short, this is what I prepared to deliver. And my presentation spans from what I call traditional or farmer-owned technologies to somehow a modified or hybrid technologies that are now emerging in northern Ghana. So I'll say thank you for listening, and then we can have questions, or if people need further explanation, we can give it, and then we can start the conversation. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you.
Thank you, Issifu. Very good. Thank you for giving us a little brief on what you are doing in your region for how the farmers are holding the water. Now, one of the things that comes out from your presentation is it seems you're in an area which is quite water rich, and it seems that your water table is very high, so there seems to be a lot of rainfall. So this is quite an interesting session in that we often always have sessions where farmers are talking of a very dry area and how holding the water and sinking it into the ground raises the water table. So I always say that whatever your farming system, whether you practice normal farming, traditional farming, chemical farming, agroecology, agroforestry, whatever farming system you use, you cannot do any farming until there is water. And so I think the challenge that you guys have is not so much the lack of water, but how you store it and spread it. The different ways of storing it is what you spread between different farmers. So would you like to say something about, for example, what kind of rainfall your region experiences, what kind of challenges your farmers experience in terms of water holding?
Okay. Let me start by letting you know that in terms of water use utilization and water crisis and water acute shortages of water, it is not fairly distributed in where I am. I'll give you an example. Even in my municipality, there's a road dividing the municipality into two. One half has their water table so high, and the other half have their water table so low that all boreholes sunk have been very unsuccessful. That is where they've started exploring the mini dams so that they can trap a lot of water there, either to recharge the underground water around that place, or their livestock can have something to drink in the dry season. Now, let me also remind you and the audience that in northern Ghana, the truth is that as you move further north, the more you have the shorter rainy season pattern are unreliable. The more you move south, the more you have longer rainy seasons and very reliable. We are in northeast. Between even northeast and even Tamale, which is about 100 kilometers, you get sometimes 1 degree Celsius differences in terms of temperature. And it's also the same thing when it comes to rainfall. So, given these circumstances, water, as you rightly put it, is a central, otherwise you cannot produce, especially in our case of agroecology. So, rainy season serve, which they have 2 seasons and sometimes throughout the year, and our place, which we have 1 and very short, sometimes effectively 3 months. And if you are lucky, it comes in a way that puts us in a very stressful manner. And then you come on the ground to the differences I've shown between the east, whose water table is so high, and then the west, which water table is so low, also put additional stress on us as farmers to produce. So you come to realize that even the differences in technology exist because in the east, where the water table is so high, you don't go far and then you get it easy. It's where they make sure that the little rains flood there and then the underground is richer, so they don't do a distance. But in the west, where water table is not easy and then you can go up to 100 meters without getting water, that is also where they don't use the shallow wells and then the hand-dug wells. What they do is either to create a small dam by trapping enough of the rainwater and store it there, and then they can use. I don't know whether I've answered your question.
Yeah, you have to some extent. What I'm trying to get to is if you want to go back into your slides, just go back to some of those places where, yeah, that is one, that's one, that's one. Go a little further back, back, a little more. So this is where the water table is high, but this is, this seems to be a way to hold the water and allow it to sink. So is this a picture from the west or from the water table rich area? And
No, this is, yes.
if you can answer, say something about where the water table is low, what are your farmers or what are you guys doing in terms of increasing the water table? How are you holding the water there so that the water table increases?
Okay, so where the water table, sometimes I get a bit confused whether when it's high means that's where you have to dig so well, I mean, too deep to get the water, or when it's low that you dig small and then you get it. But I can use in simple terms to let you know that where the shallow well is, that's where you don't go far and then you meet water. So that one, if you see where the boy was fetching, they don't do this. But where you have to go too deep to get water is where we create this to block the rainwater for it to soak the ground for a number of times before, I mean, so that they can stay there. And that's why when they do this, they have to mulch the whole place. Then instead of getting it dried within the shortest possible time, it can keep moist for almost a period of time, maybe a month or 1.5 before it gets dry. I hope this explanation.
So, which means that people do hold the water, but is there a concentrated strategy for increasing the water table in the region? Are farmers working together? Are you working with them to have these different methods of sinking the water into the ground so that next year there is more water in the underground as opposed to reducing? Because you can't have a borehole. You can sink a borehole deeper and deeper and deeper every year as the water table goes down. So a lot of the water harvesting work is actually to increase the water table so that availability of the water to the farmer is closer to the ground rather than further down. And then, of course, the landscape remains green. Do you want to say something about that?
When you look at those with the mini dams, that's actually the purpose.
Let's go to
It's
the
to
mini dams.
hold,
Let's see that picture of the mini dams. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
You see mini dams this way. Is to hold water, either for livestock use, at the same time recharging the underground water. Yes, underground table. So when they do this for a number of times, for multiples of years, and you sink a borehole or you sink a hand dug this thing, you get water.
So,
Yes.
right. Okay. So you've got mini dams, and can you go a little further back? So when were these pictures taken? Which month? The ones where the water is being held in the ground, not the one after this, the picture after this?
This has been taken for some time.
Which
When
month in the year? Around which? Can you go to the picture after this? No, after. Yes, this one and the one after. You can see a lot of water in the ground and you know, in the pans. So when were these pictures taken? Which month? During what cycle? Summer, rainy season? When?
no, it was taken in October. Yes, in October you are just leaving the what's the name? The rainy season. You are about going out of the rainy season. So that's the time that people start creating those things to trap later the last rains down and then for uses.
I see. So have you noticed, I'll ask a last question here and then we'll open it out to everybody. Have you noticed with all these strategies that your farmers are doing, like this particular picture and the one after and the mini dams and, you know, fish tanks, have you noticed an increase in the depth, in the rise of the water table in your region? Do you measure it? Or is this something farmers talk about, or have you noticed it? Have you guys, is there any understanding of, how much this is helping the water table, this kind of water retention?
I get you. Measuring, we really don't undertake any scientific study or measuring because we are not scientists, but we are farmers. We are scientists as farmers. So it's only observation that we can share with you as an experience, what we feel. And for that matter, I keep on saying that mostly we take it from farmers and then what we also practice. The observation is that if you trap it and it takes longer time, and that means that for you, you've achieved your aim by getting the moisture that you need. And because it's also working, that's why every year we keep on improving or we keep on practicing it. If it is not working, we will not practice it. So this, in a way, I can say that per experience, it keeps the place moist. It gives you the opportunity to work and produce your food. And it is something that we keep on working or improving upon it.
Okay, so that's good. Maybe you can close your presentation and we can open it out to the, if you stop sharing, and then we can open it out to our participating members. If there are questions from the audience, please raise your hand and then we can, yes, Susan, and then you can ask your question and to Issifu, or if anybody wants to reply to it after Issifu is also most welcome. Yes, Susan, please go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. For me, I would like to say that that was a great presentation, but to give an input to Issifu that when we are talking of water holding and when we are talking of raising the water table, there are some activities that we do and I've not seen them practice. Like when you do the tree planting, it helps to hold and bring the water table higher. Then after you have dug your water holding structures like the gutters, the tunnels, the swales, there is no vegetation cover. So it means that as much as we are sinking the soil, we are also not being sensitive. As much as we are sinking the water, what is the sensitivity that they are putting on the issue of holding the soil which is on the other side, as he says that they are practicing the agroecological practices. So it means that they are sinking the water, but on the other side, the soil is just treated with the nutrients. So what I would tell him is that have they started practicing on issues that would also retain the fertility of the soil? And as he displayed even at the dam, there is no vegetation cover. So it means that a lot of soil is taken away. What are they thinking about it all? What are they doing that they don't solve one problem and create another? Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Yes, Issifu, would you like to respond to Susan?
Yes, I would like to respond to her. She's right, because probably I didn't think in that direction as she was thinking that would have been expected. But anyone who has ever visited our site and have seen, this one I was focusing on water harvesting. That was the key terminology. But in actual fact, agroecology principles and what we practice on the ground, there are many instances where we integrate trees, we integrate crop diversification, and a wide range of principles that in actual fact contributes to holding water on the ground. Maybe I could have shown you a lot of pictures from there, but because the central, this thing was water harvesting technology, I was only showing those ones. So you are right. I can show you a lot of pictures. I can show you a video right now that shows how we transport water in the areas where they are trapped direct with the food forest concept, with different kind of crops and all those things, cover crops and all those things. This one, that's why I didn't even bring areas where we have mulch to make sure that water trap there is not exposed to the sun for it to evaporate quickly. So you are right. Thank you so much for the contribution. We are farmers, and the more we get this contribution, the more it helps us to improve our presentation next time. Thank you so much. But we do all those practices. Thank you.
Who else? Is there anybody would like to comment on what Issifu is talking about, or has more knowledge of water holding as being practiced by SEAL? Would anybody like to ask a question, make a suggestion, a comment?
Thank you,
Yes,
Minnie.
Irene. Irene, please go ahead. You've raised your hand.
Yeah, I greet you all. I just want to appreciate this program on water management. As Eswatini, we are truly lagging behind, and we want to start experimenting this work. Otherwise, we appreciate the presentation and also the comments that has come up, and we are learning and we are following. Thank you.
Thank you, Irene. Navison, please go ahead. Unmute yourself and please go ahead.
Thank you so much. Are you hearing me?
Could you we can hear you. Is that Navison speaking? I can still see you on mute, though I can hear you.
Oh, yes, it's Navson speaking.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yes. Thank you so much. My name is Navson. I work at Readep, Kenya. I want just to echo what he has presented. It was a nice presentation. I'm talking from economics point of view.
Your voice has disappeared, Navson. We can't hear you anymore.
Yeah, my network has
Yes, please go
disappeared.
ahead. Now we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I'm talking from agricultural economics point of view, where I have been trying to see the economic part of the activity of water holding structures. And I discovered that there is a lot of profit in it because the water is naturally available. The structures we can do ourselves at community level, where we can just mobilize ourselves at community level and also utilize this water in a profitable way, where our production function, you realize that we can break even faster than hiring machines, making big dams and other things. I really appreciate the work which is being done by these guys in Ghana, and I want to say that try to make sure that the communities have adopted this use of locally available materials. I thank you so much.
Yes, Issifu, please go ahead.
Yes. So I think his point was a contribution. So I will say that it's worth emulating what sometimes we are doing here, and we are also trying to also know what others are doing somewhere so that we could learn. There's a room for improvement. What you are seeing today is not all, because these are only a few that I picked, but there are others elsewhere. That's probably another time when I'm given the opportunity to say that I should make a presentation. I will collate them from different places where you can see additional, I would say additional, and then how it has changed over time and how they improve it as they trap and spread water across different areas or different communities in northern Ghana. So the last speaker, I think that's what I will add as a contribution. Those who spoke first, to all their contributions are well noted. It will go a long way to improve what we do here, but always have in mind that we speak from farmer point of view. And in some cases, you are not even aware you'll be given the chance to one day make a presentation on it. You just do your work. So some of the pictures that I picked is because we've been working on them, and our work was somehow to make sure that we improve on water conservation technologies, and also not necessarily because we knew one day we'll be making a presentation.
Right.
So now we are aware. We'll continue to make sure that we bring out all the water harvesting technologies and how they are being used in the field and how they have evolved over years and how they are improved upon and how they are contributing to food security in our communities and our various locations. So this is what I want to add.
Thank you, Issifu. It's that's the whole point of this session, that we, through the discussion, we learn from each other. So there is a hand up from Tanga. Yeah, go ahead, please. Unmute yourself and ask your question. It's not Tanga. Say your name and ask the question. Unmute yourself, please. And perhaps, Issifu,
okay. Yeah, thank you very much. I'm Godwin Gismati. Yeah, we are from Nyahode, down here in Chimanimani. Thank you very much, Issifu. That was a wonderful presentation. We really learned a lot. We learned a lot of things. But my question now is, as a non-governmental organization, who are you working with and how are you engaging the community?
Hey,
right?
Sorry,
I
I'm
know
trying to off my distance. I cannot. Please,
okay.
Can you meet me from there?
All right. Are you hearing me now?
Can you hear him now, Issifu?
Okay, so now please, I can hear you.
Yeah, okay. So hold on a minute. Godwin, can you repeat your question again?
Okay, my question is, as a non-governmental organization, Who are they working with? I haven't heard anything about engaging the community in the water harvesting technologies. Who are they working with, and what challenges are they facing in trying to engage the community as a non-governmental organization? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So I think in my preliminary this thing I did indicate some of this. I did indicate some of this in my preliminary submission that as a local organization, we're a local NGO, and basically our target, beneficiaries are just farmers. But in some cases, what I didn't add was, of late, we try to concentrate on or focus on youth and mostly women. I have a 5-minute video here if there's time, because I didn't utilize all my 40 minutes time. I can show it to you. That's what I was trying to search, and it was the background was coming. So our target beneficiaries are farmers. But within farmers, we have different interest groups that sometimes we do focus on, and some of them has to do with the youth, because we think that very soon the old generation will go out and the new generation, and they must make businesses out of it. So we have short videos in some of these cases. Now, how do we engage with them? Yes, what I will normally say is that our engagement process has been very good, because that's where I come from. I'm one of them. I speak the language, I speak the dialect, the tradition. I'm part of the tradition, so I know the tradition. I know every single road to every corner in where I am. Even in midnight, I can still walk. I know when the waters will come, when the waters will not come. I know what we produce and what we eat. So our engagement has been very smooth with them, because I'm one of them and I'm part of them. In terms of who support us, we have a number of people who over the years have supported us. Some are past, some are current, but we have ELPG, which we call a GOAP, Ghana Organic Agriculture Platform, which actually focuses on agroecology and organic farming. And that has been one of our supporters. And then recently we have Groundswell International that has come in an 11th hour. These are some of our supporters who are helping us to promote some of the technologies that we promote with farmers. Challenges, of course, normally I don't want to say money, because money is not everything. But money is a challenge to everyone, because everyone would have said that if he had enough money, then he would have covered more people. But beyond money too, there are other challenges like cultural barriers, there are traditional issues, there are agroecology in terms of labor consuming, appropriate technology issues. All those things are part of the challenges that we face as we work with farmers to improve their food security and also expanding this thing. Even in one community that I'm working with now, that they have a lot of potentials, but water is a major issue. I'm engaging with the municipal assembly to see, together with the community members, to see whether they can do something in terms of opening up their dam and then let them, conserve or trap enough water so that they could be used for their livestock in the dry season and also dry season farming. So these are the few I can share with you with regards to your question.
Thank you. Right. There's a question from HP who says, do many farmers come for learning and exposure visits to your center? And if they come, do they replicate what they learn from your center?
Okay, so this year, I can show you the 5 minutes video of the center. I've taken interest in learning agroecology, including some of the water conservation practices. I can show you it if you don't mind, and then that can answer his question.
Maybe if you reflect on the question first, and then we can see if there's time for the video. But please do say something in your own words.
Yes, in our center, we have different group of people who come there to learn with different models. Some of them even include what I call co-investment model, where you come, you learn, and then when you go back, you are interested in replicating it, and then, but you don't have all the resources to replicate it. And then we say, okay, can we agree on co-investment package? We contribute this, and then you contribute this, and then you can have that replication in your distance. But also let the question, the one who asked the question, also understand that our center is not the hub of the knowledge. There are also a number of some of these water technologies in different communities. And what sometimes we do is also promote what I call inter-farmer or inter-community exchange learning processes, where we encourage you, oh, this one, you have seen it, it is also in your community. It is also in this community. Take the farmer contact and then meet the farmer, and then we can arrange, we can speak to him, and then you can go there and you can learn from him, and the farmer can help you. So there are two ways here. One way is for you to come to the center and pick some of the few technology we have. And also the second one is to learn from other community that you are not aware, that we are aware because we are central, and then we can direct you there. And in some cases, the farmers too who direct us. I also want him to know that we didn't know, there was a point in time we didn't know that the farmer own is so effective. And when a project that was on local innovation, it was so wonderful. Within 4 communities alone, we identified not less than 48 local innovation that is actually perfectly working and contributing to food security. And we were surprised. Then at a point in time, we decided that, why don't we sometimes drop what we impose on them and probably look at what the farmers are doing, and then see whether we can work with the farmers to improve it. And then that becomes very easy to disseminate. Wonderful. So it has become part of us. So there are times that you don't necessarily need to come to the center, but we direct you or we link you to another farmer in another community who has a very wonderful idea in some of these areas, and then you can learn from the farmer, and then boom, you are gone.
Very good. Amazing. It's always, I really like what you say over there, that, the imposition never works. It always has to come from ground up. And the farmer is the person who really knows the land and what's happening on the land and what's needed. So if they can come up with what they need, and that discussion leads to an understanding and bettering of a circumstance, and that's the kind of learning that spreads. Very good to hear you say that it's now more collaborative and less imposed. Do go ahead and show your 5-minute video.
I also want him to know that because of that idea of replication, today, if you come to most of the communities that we are, that's where you can find some of the biggest compost. When people are complaining composting is too difficult to our communities, because they think is the best way to retain water, the best way to recharge and improve your soil health, they are really, really practicing. And you can find some of the biggest composts in our region.
Very nice. So do you want to show that film you were talking about, if it's a 5-minute film?
Yes, but I have a challenge with technology again. Oh.
Well,
so
you can
people
try.
Can ask their questions.
Yeah,
and
okay.
Then,
as you wish, as you wish. Is there anybody else who'd like a question or a reflection or a comment?
Yeah, I would just like to say that Water School is really focused on that all the factors that end up making a farm successful, they're so they're not obvious. It's not that they're known beforehand. And what you're saying is that you try to communicate all these subtle relationships of the farmer to the land, so that all the inventiveness of working with water can come through and that you can really create something in your area that's specific to your area and is using your local tradition. So maybe you can say a bit more on that, how you learn in this sort of different way than having a fixed knowledge.
That's actually that's actually a distance. That means I have to set my mind back, because some of these things were obtained over a period of time, and they were not it's not like the classroom learning where you were taking notes, but it is something that, okay, today we are in farmer A, and then we see what the farmer is doing, and then how does it, and then we ask questions, and we say, okay, can we work together to improve it? That is how this knowledge started increasing slowly. So in my submission, I made it clear that these are only few, but there are still a lot of them. And now that my attention has been brought to this, what it means that we have to be consciously now take note of this to make sure that we work towards it and then improve them. And then later on, we can, disseminate them. Look, there was a point in time I got to a place where even small gullies that used to be considered as erosion paths has now been blocked, or they have now been directed to channel water to places where water was not reaching. I asked the farmer, he said, yes, once we get this rain, it might take a month or 2 months. I will not get rain. So I need to get water to make sure that I soak this place and keep it moist for that whole length before I can get the next rain. Of course, this is not something I thought that, yes, one day I'll be making a presentation and I can share this. So I have to learn it and say, wow, it makes sense. And I think it's a wonderful idea. Keep on doing it. And probably one time, instead of this, you can make it a permanent where water can, that is what we contribute to the process. And that's how we learn from the farmer. And also we help the farmer improve what he's been doing. So, of course, I was dealing with a farmer on a different project where, okay, now you have to make sure that you integrate trees into your farming system. You have to make sure that you diversify your crops. You have to make sure that you mulch the place. Of course, mulching, once the farmer is at this thing, he adds that to his water conservation practices. So we, in a way, co-create, depending on the farmer situation, and then also examine the farmer field and how he can trap the little water there. So it's a two-way learning process. You cannot say, okay, this one in the classroom, we wrote this, we took care of this, we did this, we learned it this way. But that is the little I can share, I can contribute to the process.
Very good. I mean, one of the things that that's coming out is that there's a rich learning that can happen, especially, and you've got, as you outlined, you've got wonderful organizations you're now partnering with and who have a very, very strong tradition of holding water. So, between your north and the west, where the water table's high and the water table's low, there can be a lot of cross-cultural sharing at the farmer level, which will then raise the water table in years to come. So even consciously, and that's one of the purposes of the water school, is that we look at water very consciously as being the driver for everything else that comes. So even as we were starting this session and you were telling me about the wonderful livelihoods that, the different livelihoods that farmers in your region have, that can only be possible when they have adequate water. So that cross-cultural sharing and learning between your farmers from the north and the west where there isn't enough water would be something that would definitely benefit your farmers in even a more coherent way, even if it is more like a strategy you would adopt in time. Anybody else? Charity, I had seen your hand up. Is your question answered, or would you still like to go ahead and ask?
Yeah, I think he has articulated what I wanted to ask. Even though maybe I could ask and then he could add. He was talking about Yusuf was talking about if it doesn't work, then they stop practicing. Do you remember anything that maybe you did in the community that was really not working and then you abandoned it? And maybe you could tell us about that.
Good
Thank you.
question. Thank you, Charity. Good question. Issifu.
I would say that it is not always that we've been successful, to be quite frank with you. But what keeps us moving is that because in most cases, our work does not involve a lot of money. It is other labor and the thinking. And then you apply it, try using traditional methods. Even if it didn't work, you change something new and then you keep on improving it until it works. I would say that, okay, let me give you an example. There's a community called Bugia. And in Bugia, they one time came to us and said, look, you've been working with other communities who want you to work with us. And I said, okay, that's fine. What can we do together? Okay, we are willing to learn. And it so happened that the other communities, their soil was a bit better. It could hold and retain water. But Bugia soil is so loose that what's the name? Any method you use or anything you do, soil fertility leach. So we said, okay, we can. And we were trying to let them do what others have been doing, especially with regards to composting. And the amount they were applying was not sufficient. So it means they were not seeing results. It was later, because we are not also scientists, we didn't know. It was later we brought in others and they told us the soil, because it's so loose, it leaches and then you cannot find your distance. So that's one of the things. It's not about the water, but it is about other things that we've been doing and then it has not been working. So the best thing we could do was to tell them that, okay, you will need 5 times of what others need to be able to bring your soil health back. Those who said, okay, 5 times, okay, we'll do our best, they went ahead and did it, and they have the results. So the first ones, those who could not have the time to do it 5 times, failed. That's a typical failure. But those who have the time and they did it, they were able to get 5 times of that to get it back, had really, really stayed in their farms. They didn't lose their farmlands. But the others who couldn't have lost their farmlands because the lands have become barren. They cannot use them again. Now, the wonderful thing we are seeing is that those few who were able to go up to the 5 times and even beyond and brought their soil back has now inspired those who left their destiny. And they have started thinking of, okay, I think it's doable. We can do it. That is how I can share with you in terms of what sometimes we do fail. Yes. And don't forget, population is increasing. So land accessibility is becoming an issue. Those days it wasn't, but now it's becoming a very hot cake, a very key issue affecting all kinds of society, women and then vulnerable and the marginalized. Because you must be strong to get the few fertile areas. Otherwise, you must take the barren one and then reclaim it. So this is where water harvesting technologies will be very relevant, because once you bring the soil life, soil and then soil health and then water conservation must work hand in hand. And also possibly because those who worked hard to go 5 times probably have more water retention capacity than those who couldn't. And that's why they fail. So we can keep on counting and counting in terms of experience.
Thank you. You got a big thumbs up from Charity. So you've definitely answered that question or brought light onto that topic of what works and how to, how we have to keep going with sometimes it's successful, sometimes not. So very good. I had seen a hand up, Cosmos. Are you still wanting to ask your question? If so, unmute yourself and go ahead.
Yeah, but I'm sure he mentioned some points I wanted to ask, but I will just add on someone who was asking about those dams whereby we are seeing the bare land. Yeah, I just want to add to say, when you are doing these water harvesting techniques, it's a process whereby sometimes the farmer will just start on a bare land whereby there is no tree, then he will start practicing the water harvesting there. So now it will be a process for a farmer to have water whereby he can have the nurseries. So now you find that he has to dig a dam and then he come up to plant the grass around the dam and then he plant tree around the dam so that at least he can able to help the dam so that the water would be there and the down water also will be boosted, whereby you are charging the down table. So I think I'll just congratulate the presenter for the presentation. It was really nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you too. Thank you. But we also need to get this clear, like I was saying. Look, I am not a good presenter. So normally when they give me the assignment, I try to say, okay, you see, the whole picture, I can show you other pictures too, where our value comes into effect. That if a community is thinking of how to trap their water, what the value addition we do add them is that you need to plant trees to make sure that you retain and then make sure that you stop evaporation. So, but with regards to this, what came to my mind was you need to show a presentation that shows actually the water and how it's captured. So you don't necessarily have to bring areas where it is clouded with trees and those, and people have to strain their eyes to see where is the water captured. That was what informed me. But from what I'm hearing from you, what it means that it really didn't matter. Anything that water is captured, even including all the futures that keeps it retained, is very important to bring them to a presentation like this. So thank you so much. I've learned so much from you people today.
It's the first thing I always say is that we want our sessions to be very informal, and any presentation slides are actually not for how good or bad a presenter is, but it's to aid a discussion between all of us who are present and who know various little bits of things, and to enable questions to be asked and to learn something from each other. So you've done very, very well, Issifu. Thank you for bringing that perspective from your country and what your farmers are doing. And really, it was very, very well said. Now, there's my colleague Dalend is wanting to ask a question. Dalend, please unmute yourself and go ahead.
Thank you so much, Issifu. That was a wonderful presentation. But in your own words, Issifu, when somebody asked you about how you relate with the community, you mentioned inter-farmer connection, where you sort of do like exchange visits. Would you like to tell us how this has actually changed the landscape of water harvesting? How effective has this been in your area?
Okay. Normally, I always tell people that when it comes to inter-farmer or inter-community exchange visit, we don't single ourselves out because we are also farmers. So if you come to us, you've come to a farmer, you've come to a community. If we come to you, we've come to a farmer, we've come to a community. In terms of that, your question of, in terms of how that has I would say that it's going to be difficult to actually point it out because we've not deliberately, But what I can say is, with regards to water technologies, we have not properly lifted people to say, let's go and see the water technology these community people are doing. But what I can also say is that they have unconsciously gone there either to look at the type of seed that the local seed the person is using. And in that process, the person needs water and the way it became, the way it is flourishing and all those things. So the farmer end up learning everything together. Oh, your seed is good. Oh, let's go to let me see how it was done. And then the water harvesting systems comes in. Oh, okay. So it needs constant water. Oh, yes. And this is the water system you use. Oh, okay, that's fine. So the farmer end up learning all those things together because it is those things put together that made the seed to be successful. And then the farmer goes back. And when he takes the seed and go back, what the farmer does is also to replicate the same process, including the water systems, either the same way or differently, having in mind that there was sufficient water retained. That was why the seed was successful. But the farmer, in actual fact went there for seed. So Deland, to put it together, I can say that it is more of what? A generic, but not on specific, like just water. That is what I can answer your question. And they have been very successful, and farmers continue to learn and then move from one community. Look, there are instances that it's even the farmer who draw our attention. They come to the farmer and say, oh, I was in this farm in this community. When I went there, I saw that these crops were doing very well, and they were doing, and you know what they are doing? We say, no, they are using this system. Instead of we blocking our water this way, they block it this way. And I say, oh, okay, I'll take time and go and see it. So they are all part of the inter-farmer exchange learning. So it's mostly informal and it's not documented, but working and very effective. Thank you.
You've almost really encapsulated how real learning in action takes place. When something successful is seen by another practitioner and they've learned from it and they replicate it in their area, that's how real successful learning in action takes place. And that's what we try to do with Water School Africa. So thank you for bringing that light on that. Dalin, does that answer your question, or is there something else you would like to ask or add?
Or if there's something he wants to add.
Thank you. That's it. Look, what I can actually add this afternoon is water harvesting is actually a community thing, because whatever you do on your farm affects the next farmer. So if we really want to be successful as Africa, I would want to urge everyone who is listening that let us team up, let us make this community work, let us be involved in groups. It's better if we work as a team. And on that note, I would want to just add that if you are approaching us, if you are getting us for the first time, our viewers, please put your contacts in the email box, in the chat box, so that we can come back to you later and include you in our movement box. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Marvelous. So that's very thought-provoking. Is there anybody else who has a question or a reflection, and we can thank Issifu for a very, very thought-provoking time today and sharing with us what you're doing with your farmers in Ghana. It's always exciting, interesting to learn what's happening in different regions, different countries. I'm going to stop here for a minute because I can see a question from Walter who says, have you tried to work with any local schools? Do you want to answer that?
Yes. We've worked with local schools where we try to instill in the young generation the idea of protecting their environment, planting trees and all those things, and start adopting agroecology. I have worked with a partner that was trying to promote a school water harvesting system so that local schools can collect enough rainwater and then use during their school hours. So I think one of the pictures that you saw, Pump is Life, is an organization that, looks at water harvesting technology. They are part of us, and they drill boreholes, and sometimes they also set up tanks to collect this thing. It could be poly tank, it could be any other tank. So that's how our relationship or working with schools have been.
Walter, would you like to add something in terms of, I know you have vast experience of bringing community processes into schools, so maybe would you like to add something to that, to Issifu's response, Walter?
Yes, thank you very much, Issifu, for sharing your experiences. Yeah, I just want to add that schools sometimes the complex setups, complicated setups because of the many stakeholders that are there. So when you initially start working with the schools, you can expect maybe some disappointments or some delays in terms of achieving your objectives. But the important thing is not to give up easily and to keep working with the school or schools, and eventually you will succeed, because young people themselves are not usually a problem. They are very open, but the school setup, the teachers, the administration might sometimes present challenges. So just an encouragement to keep on working with the schools, because yeah, the young people in school are our future. So we should not give up working with them, and so to encourage you just to keep on doing that. Thank you very much, Isif. It's a wonderful work that you are doing.
Thank you, Walter. Yes, it is something to keep in mind that many stakeholders, and especially we are working with those who look after our future generations, and so the layers are many and the challenges are many, but you have to keep persisting, and then the magic happens. Issifu, would you like to respond to something that Walter said?
No, I think it's okay. It's a contribution, so that's fine.
Thank you. Anybody else?
We still have a question in the chat box, Minnie.
Right, go ahead. Read it out, please, Dalit.
It says here, Issifu, in some instances, do you charge extension charges when you provide your service? In some instances, do you charge the extension services you provide? Okay.
Okay. We are also an institution that advocates. So it means we also do advocacy. And one of our key advocacy issue is we don't have to monetize knowledge and also the extension services that the farmer needs so much. And we are even engaging with the municipal local assemblies and Department of Agri to make sure that they put pressure on government to increase the number of extension services so that every farmer can get. And we deem food security to be something that we mustn't joke with. Everyone, every farmer must get the knowledge and those things that they require to be able to produce sufficiently. So do we charge? No, because we cannot be advocating for these services to be made available to farmers free or something, and then we charge again. But what we do know is that when I talked about the co-investment, especially when you see a technology that you think you want to put in place, but you need to do some expenditures, we can't sacrifice our time and those things to have, because we have others supporting us. And that's why we do everything free. And even if at a point that we don't have anybody supporting us, once we are also farmers and we're in the community, we're always willing to share. I may not be able to be there at the time that you need me because nobody is financing me, but definitely I move around in the villages. I can come for a funeral, I can come for any other purpose, and I'll add that to come and see, and I can share with you. But where you need certain few things to do, that's where the co-investment comes. You must also, spend part of your money in building the same systems that you need, and then we contribute to the process. So charging, no, we don't charge.
Wonderful, Issifu. You have said something which is always in my heart and mind, that when it is community wisdom, when it is regenerating our planet, when it is our work to look after our regions, our lands, and our planets, and it's wisdom which is coming from the ground, then if the more we can spread it, the more you have to keep it as free as possible. It is community wisdom to be shared freely, generously, and widely with the community. And so I really thank you. That is a wonderful note to bring this session to a close on, but we really thank you for that sentiment, because that is the way the planet will regenerate and revive. There are so many of our brothers and sisters who live on the land who don't have the means that are available to others, yet they have the wisdom. And if that wisdom of theirs they share generously and freely, then nobody should monetize that. No, and it should continue to be spread generously and freely. And that's what we want the water schools to be. always free. This is community wisdom. This is community knowledge. This is the community's way of telling us how we can look after our planet, our home, and keep it lush, abundant, and healthy, giving us a healthy life. And that wisdom and knowledge should be shared freely, widely, and generously. We really thank you for that, Issifu. And I think with that, we can bring the session to a close. Thank you, everybody, for participating. Wonderful work. And always there are amazing people, many more than we have presentations from or talking about their work. So if you know or you would like to, do reach out to us. There's implementation. Dylan, do put in the email implementation wsa@gmail.com, or you can reach out to, waterschools.org. Anybody, just let us know what you would like to talk about. And very much like Issifu, it doesn't have to be something which is separate. Water is the starting point, but it is embedded in your work, the work that you do with with agroecology, with your farmers, with livelihoods. So it's not a separate issue, but it is woven into how you have a healthy life. So thank you, everybody, for joining in the session. The recording, once it's ready, will be up on the website, so you can share it widely. And do look out, our sessions happen on the first Tuesday of every month. So the next session will be in November, on the first Tuesday in November, and I'll tell you the date in a minute. That will be November the 4th of November. And we look forward to seeing you then. Thank you, everybody, for joining in. And Issifu, thank you very much for taking the time and sharing what you guys are doing in Ghana, and so warmly and so well. Bye for now, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
And thank you too. Bye.